Thanks for joining me again. Today's video, if you watched the last one, we did all the preparation on the back of the van ready for the respray. So that's what this one is. I'm going to do the paintwork on the back of the van. Just to start with though, I've got a little bit of touching up to do on the side where there's been a repair done in the past where it's just literally been sprayed and with a can or something. So let me show you how to just rectify a bit of a bad job. Just a quickie, then we'll get on with the back doors. So enjoy the video. There's loads of these to go. I'll put them all in a playlist so that if you want to follow the journey of the fixing of the van, then just click on the playlist. Enjoy the show. So can you see these really sort of badly done repairs where literally someone's got a spray can, has just sanded it down a bit and then just and it's caused this huge blob of paint. There's one there and there's one here. Now, I mean, we're not talking about perfection here, but what we're talking about is this big gob. And usually if I remove that paint, you'll find that the actual mark itself is tiny. And it'd look far better if you just touched it in with a little brush or something, rather than this huge big blob of paint. So let's just try and get that off, and you can see what I mean. So just get Mason's old pants, and just whack a bit of thinners. This is just standard thinners. And just rub at this paint here, this spray that they've put on, and we'll see if we can just get it off and see what's below it and behind it, and how much of a mess they've actually tried to cover up. You can see it's lifting this paint straight off. You've got to be a bit careful. We don't want to take the original paint off the van, but usually the spray that's been put on is a cellulose base paint anyway, so it shouldn't touch the original paint and just bring off this. And there you go, look. So that huge blob of paint, all it was covering up was that mark there. So let's just get rid of that one as well. I think this one looks like it's covering up something even less sinister. It's just the beauty of touching it in with a pen or a brush. It's so much, it's more accurate, you know, and you can just get the part you want to and not plug it everywhere else. So there you go, look. What we're left with there is a couple of little marks, which are not too painful. And if I go and get my touch-up brush and a bit of paint, we can make them look a lot better. Got a little bit of the paint mix here in a little jar. It's not 100% matched, but it's pretty close. So just get a little bit of that, and then we'll literally just touch that in. So the last video was all about the preparation, getting it ready for painting these rear doors, which we'll get onto in a minute. We mixed the filler up on the beetroot board, and obviously that's gone hard now. So the first thing I'm going to do when we get in the garage is just show you how to rip that off. See how much better does that look than that huge big blob of gob that was covering the whole of that area. Just and that will smooth out a bit as it dries. There we go. Super stuff. You actually see where they've sanded this, and it caused more damage than what originally was there. But yeah, pleased with that. That looks nice. What do you reckon? So that little repair on the side, we've got rid of that old paint, and it looks so much better. Let's get on with them doors. Let's get them rear doors painted up. What I'll say to you about these beetroot boards, you just literally, when they're finished mixing and you're done with it, you just peel that off. And you're ready to go again for the next one. So that's the end of that. Right, what we've got here is the paint for the job. We've got 2 tins. Now the first one I had mixed up came through and was just slightly too light, just a tiny bit too light. The van itself it's about 3 different colours all over. So we've got to try and just blend a couple of colours. I've got a slightly darker, creamier one and a lighter one. So I just need to mix a tiny bit of the darker into the lighter, and hopefully we're not going to be too far wrong as just a mix for all of it. I've been faffing with it a little bit, trying to get it right. It's not going to be perfect, but then I'm not a paint expert, as far as mixing and stuff. So what I'm going to do is just get the lighter one and put a bit of the creamier one in it. Yeah, it says. Yeah, so I'm just going to put a tiny bit of that one in that one. I'm just going to give this one a mix to start with. I'm not going to put a lot in, just a little bit.
Listening back to this, and I can hear Mason, he's got the camera a bit close to him. He sounds like Darth Vader. I have the power, Luke. This paint is all from Central Paints in Leicester, just a local paint suppliers. It's all two-pack paint.
Oh, I think that might do it. Just wipe off that so I don't get it everywhere. And that should hopefully just change that slightly. Just give it just a tiny creamier tinge to it. So I'll give this a really good mix up. It's really hard with these paints. Like I say, the van is so old. When it was originally painted, it would have been done in a cellulose paint. This is 2K 2-pack paint, so it's an acrylic based paint. So things have changed. I mean, it's never going to be 100%. If I can get it as close as, then I'll be well happy. Like I said, the first attempt wasn't bad. Just touching it and we could see where we were going with it. Right, and so what we've got here is beautiful. Love this gun. It's a SATA HVLP gun, which is low pressure, high velocity. Just bang the hopper in the top of that. It's a lovely, lovely gun. Right, so with this paint, 2K paint, we're mixing hardener with the paint in the hopper. So we're talking a 1/4 mix hardener, which is going to loosen it all up a bit. Let's just get that into the vise, so I haven't got to hold it and doss about. So I don't need. I think I'm just going to go for probably. Well, you see, I'm not going to need a lot. The paint goes a long, long way when we're spraying it. Let's see what we can get in there. This is where I get it all over the floor, get it all over me, make an absolute meal of it. Alright, that'll do. Get the lid back on that, get that mopped up there off me thing a second. Oh, it's messy, messy, messy. It's really messy. Okay, and then the hardener. Now we have on here, we're going to have to go up to, what we're on there, about 180. So 250.
You can add a bit of thinners as well if you want to, just to thin it up if needs be. If you are, you could drop that in first. It just saves you blocking the needle of the gun up.
200. There you go. Splish, splash, splash. Lock that in there. Mix that up now in the hopper. Get this all mixed up. What a potion we have. And then get it on quick before it goes off in the spray gun. What do you reckon? Is it going to work? How's the colour going to look? Oh, I don't know. All these things that could go wrong. All this and this some more. We're getting a blue one. Right, okay, let's get that out of there. Give that a quick wipe. Get the lid on the gun. Let's go for it. Let's go, go, go. Got the heater, just to warm things up as we're spraying. We've got the pressure down on the airline, like I say, about 40 to between 40 and 50 psi. This is going to take.
With this gun, you pull the trigger slightly and you get the air coming out like it is now with no paint, so you can get a nice waft of air. You can set your pressure up and everything, get the feel for it. You pull the trigger back slightly further and then the paint starts to come out.
Right, let's see what's going to come out like. Right.
So it is a warm day as well today. It's we're talking 25 degrees or so, but I've got that Firefly heater on there, which has warmed the panels up even more. Just got them up to a nice temperature, because the paint always goes on better when the thing you're spraying to is warm. If it's cold, then it just makes it a bit more difficult. I've just dropped the pressure down slightly there, just to make it come out not as aggressive and it lose a bit of that overspray. You can see the overspray still coming away. This gun has got a very low overspray, but the camera's picking it up quite well there. I'm just gently working my way around. I'm not too fussy about the finish on this inside of the door. I'm just more about the coverage. Let's just get a bit on. But as you can see, it covers really well. It really goes on nicely. I love this gun. It's such a good spray gun. It was expensive, but actually I think when I bought it, it was about 300 quid, but it was in a sale. They were trying to get rid of some stock, and I think I paid about £150 for it in the sale, and I couldn't not have it. When I saw it there and it was that price, I thought, you know what, when these things come up for that sort of money, you've got to go for it. But it's a delight to use. But you can see that now, look, it's going on well, and the colour doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look too bad at all. This 2-pack paint, if you've got the heat there, if you've got the like the infrared heater there, it just dries nice and thick, and also it smooths as it's drying. So even if you've got a little run there, you'll find that run will sometimes blend itself in. And once it's gone hard, you can flat it if you need to flat it. It's not a problem. But as this goes, it's gone on really well. That looks delightful. Let's bring that heater in a bit, get that on that, stop it. If it has gone on thick, it'll stop it running and it will dry it out really quick. We'll get along that bottom back panel as well now. We'll get some on there. I've gone into warp speed a bit here. You don't want to watch me just slowly. Well, you might do, I don't know. But yeah, we'll get that covered, get some paint on there. I'll go along the top of this door as well. Now, I masked all this off. I've been having issues with my memory cards and my cameras, and I've recorded a lot of this in 4K, and it's just zapping my memory in the camera. And I've been, of course, halfway through spraying and doing stuff, and the memory cards ran out, and I've not realised. So I do apologise for the masking off. I missed all the footage of that, which was a bit of a pain. But never mind. I've got some on the front of the van where we do some more paintwork, and I've got that as well. The big brown sheets, I bought a big roll of that, and that was really reasonable. I think it was 20 quid for a huge roll. I mean, you could wrap the whole van 50 times in it. It's got so much of it, so it was worth having it, because otherwise you're trying to use newspaper and you're faffing about. It's just not worth the hassle. It's worth just buying a big roll of this brown paper, and it's fit for the job. It's really good. You can see that's going on lovely though. That it's going on really well. With the spraying, the general idea is you've got to keep the wet spot. So you're following your wet spot, and if you can keep the flow of that wet spot onto the panel, you'll always get a decent finish. we'll bring in the hot air blower as well. So I've got the old DeWalt hot air blower there, which is again, I could have done with another heater, but there you go. So the hot air blower does a good job. It will just stop that running if I've got it on a bit thick in places. Get that hot air blower on there and it will dry it out and make it go off a lot faster, which is what we want. Like I say, really fortunate with this weather as well though. It's almost like being in an oven. It's so warm, it's unbelievable. Because I'm just trying to keep that wet spot going, keep that wet patch on the van. You can see there, look, all the way along the top now, it's got a nice wet feel to it. And if I can just continue that across the bottom now, then we'll have a nice shiny finish on that panel when we finally shut the door and let it go off. There it goes, look, keep that wet patch going. See, I'm running down the door now, it's still wet that to the centre crease there, and then I'll come down and continue the bottom bit, just work my way down, keeping that wet line going. There we go, look, carrying it on all the way to the bottom. These paint sprayers watching this will be laughing their heads off thinking, what was this guy doing? You know, I ain't no professional paint sprayer by any means, and I don't admit to be, but I can get a bit of paint on a car. I can do a reasonable job when I put my finger to it, put my mind to it. Again with this, it's not a perfect job. Embracing the dents, you know, we've still got a lot of dents, a lot of creases in these doors, but I just haven't got the time to get it perfect. And if I can get it looking half decent, like I say, then we've got plenty of time. We've got a couple of years to come back to this if we want to, and really make it. Well, either reskin the doors or not bother. I don't know. We shall see how it pans out. I think I have got to embrace the dents because there's a lot of little dents and bashes on it. But then it is 40 years old, so I think you've just got to go with it. But if it looks nice and shiny, it'll look nice and be fit for purpose. Again, we've got this other side to do.
It's an absolute wall.
I just finish off around the bottom of these door edges where I've missed. And like I say, we've got the hot air blower on, we've got the heat gun there, we've got the infrared heater as well working away. Just get that under there on those bare metal edges and stuff, just cover it all up. But you know what? I'm pretty pleased with that. So we've got the no-ball nails stuff. This should do the job for this. Get some up here and run a bead all the way around. So I've gone with this stuff again to try and get those rubbers back on again. It seemed to stick them pretty well the first time. I presume it was this stuff that I took off. I don't know for sure because I didn't stick them on, but this is good for gluing rubber, plastic and metal and everything. I've gone for the all-weather version of it as well, so it was about, I think it was about £10 a tube, but it goes a long way. There'll be plenty in there to do this. I didn't want to go for anything silicone based because that will upset the paint if I have got to paint again. Silicone is like a painter's worst nightmare. If you've got any kind of silicone on the bodywork before you spray, you get all kinds of weird things happening, circles and dots and holes in your paint. It's a nightmare. So just keeping away from the silicone if I can. But we'll get that bead all the way down there. Just whiz that on, and then we can get that rubber seal stuck back to the doors. Yeah, there we go, all the way down. Absolutely beautiful. Right, let's get this on. Start with this side here. Again, we've been blessed with some absolutely beautiful weather. It's absolutely scorching, so the paint has gone off really well. And this glue shouldn't take too long to go off either. I do apologise for getting my gut out again though. Just keep feeding this seal on all the way around, just slowly working it round. It would have been nice to get some new ones, but just getting hold of the parts for these sort of weird parts like rubber seals and stuff are a nightmare trying to get hold of. But this one's gone on. It's gone on nicely. It'll do for now. All these bits and bobs, I keep putting them on the list. I've got a parts list to get, so when I can find them and source them, then I'll replace them as and when.
Really nice, isn't it?
I'll just work my way around it again, just prising it in, just gently pushing it in all the way around, making sure there's no little gaps or anything. And that No More Nails is pretty decent stuff, to be fair. It's really took to that well. It's gone on nice. There we go. That's the rubbers back on the doors. Good job.
Yeah, really pleased with that, how that's come out. They look nice.
The paint shade is just slightly lighter, just a tad, but it's not bad.
So there we go. That's the back end all painted up, all finished off, ready for the decals to go on. The next video will be putting the 240 volt hookup socket on the outside of the van and wiring that in. So keep watching and enjoy the rest of the videos. There's still plenty more to come. We've got the stickers going on as well soon, so that will be in another video. Loads of jobs. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.